The good news is you can do this. And I'm going to encourage you, whatever you've been through, my prayers are with you, my thoughts are with you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rola, clinical psychologist. I'm continuing with the topic, what is common to every suicide? This is part 2. I would encourage you to review part 1. That gives you a solid foundation for this video and kind of gives you that broad perspective that you need and everyone needs when it comes to identifying the signs of suicide, helping to reduce the risk and prevent the rates of suicide. I'm going to leave links for other videos that I've done, youth suicide risk assessment. That's a really good one. Another one is safety planning. This video is about going deeper, going beneath the mask that we all wear as human beings, to be honest. We don't always show every side of us to everybody. But for those that are severely depressed, suicidal, and die by suicide, we definitely need to go beneath that mask to talk about what is going with their thoughts, what is going on with their emotions, and the kind of behaviors that they're engaging in. That helps us to correct some of those erroneous perceptions that we have, that people who are depressed cannot be successful, well adapted, or pretty or handsome, whatever. We need to get to the bottom of what is really going on, regardless of the person's neighborhood, how much they make, or whether they're in the public eye or not. Before I continue, please subscribe. Press that notification bell so you can have immediate access to my videos. Also, I would love you to follow me on social media at Ask Dr. Rola, AskDrRola. The person who dies by suicide has these deep-seated feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. This is one emotion that is the strongest, that really pushes that person to harm themselves. The person who is feeling helpless believes that they're past help. Nobody can help them. Not a therapist, not a psychiatrist, not a primary care doctor, not their mom, not their dad, not God. Nobody can help them. And this is a very difficult place to be for the person who is depressed, because that engenders the feelings of wanting to get out of the pain. That makes the anguish and the psychological pain just overwhelming for the person who is suffering. The person also believes that their issue is hopeless. They're past help and their situation is not going to improve. That's serious. That is why when you meet somebody or you know somebody who is depressed, we want to be looking out for language that they use or things that they say that looks like helplessness and hopelessness. Another area that is very difficult for the person who dies by suicide is that they do go through a period of indecision, the ambivalence about life and death. I've heard people say things like, if they really want to die, just die. If you really want to die, just go ahead and do it. If you really meant to, you wouldn't say it. That is some of the, I don't know how to say this. That is some of the most difficult, painful things I've heard people say about people who have died by suicide. Nobody really wants to die and leave this world the way that they've done it. They go through a time when there's a battle. I want to be here, but I want to escape the pain. And that is why it's important that when we hear people saying, I don't want to give up mom, or I don't want to give up husband, I want to still be here, I want to be here for you, I want to be here for my children, that's a sign that they want life. But then this pain is unbearable. So do we see how difficult it is for them to balance that out? And that is why it is important for us to show empathy for somebody who is feeling suicidal, because they are going through a period of indecision. It is also important for you as a family member to not make contracts with somebody who's suicidal, such as, I know you won't do it for me, make an agreement with me. That is a wrong way to go by. Help the person who is struggling, because while they may be wanting to hold on to life because they love you, they're also dealing with the anguish, mental anguish. And the fact that they don't feel like they're going to do it and they've told you does not mean that they will not do it. Another characteristic that is common is that the person's perspective on life is significantly narrowed, is constricted. When the person was not depressed, they may have seen options as numerous. And if they don't know what their options are to get better, they are willing to explore ways to find out what to do. But for the person who is severely depressed and the person who dies by suicide, they have now come to a place of a narrowed, constricted perspective. I only have this way out of this pain. Some of them have explored those other options and it has not worked out for them, or the depression is so severe they do not have the energy or the drive to explore any other options. The person who is depressed and dies by suicide is looking for ways to numb the pain, to escape, and they see suicide as a way of escape. So the action and the gestures, some of them may have engaged in cutting themselves in the past and it's kind of giving them some relief. They've done alcohol, they've done drugs, so they've gotten some level of numbing in unhealthy ways. And now they feel like suicide would be the way to just be done with the pain and not have to struggle with numbing the pain anymore. Another area that, believe it or not, is very, very common in every suicide is that the person who dies by suicide has communicated that they are thinking about suicide. Whether overtly or not, they have communicated. Many people who kill themselves by suicide did it after an event that occurred within a day or two from the time of suicide. They may have gotten a phone call from a loved one saying they don't want to be in their lives anymore. Somebody may say, or like the Bed Bath & Beyond CEO who committed suicide a few weeks ago, there was a legal issue going on with Bed Bath & Beyond and he was being investigated. Within a few days or a few weeks from that, he harmed himself and he died. I don't remember the method anymore. It doesn't matter. The fact that there was something going on at the time that pushed him in that direction. They're crying out. They're saying things like, I don't know if I want to be here. I don't think I'm going to live long. Not everybody is meant to live long. I'm going to go to heaven. I know God loves me. I can meet my grandmother. I can meet my dad. All those statements are expressions of how they feel, and they're communicating to somebody. They may even go to their primary care doctor to ask for help. It may be, they may not say they're suicidal. They may talk about some other challenges they're facing. But it is said that within a few days prior to the act of suicide, many people will actually see their primary care doctor. And they will come and talk about something that is not related to their depression, some of them, but they're actually suicidal. Again, they're not vocalizing it in clear terms, but they are suicidal. And that is something we need to pay attention to. The former Miss USA who passed wrote a suicide letter, which means they were thinking about it and writing things down. And even though she had a custom of talking to her mom and they talked about gratitude every day, I believe to some extent her relationship with her mother probably extended her life. At some point, she gave up on that and committed suicide. You notice I'm using committed and died by suicide. The ideal word we use now is died by suicide. We don't want to use the word committed anymore because it sounds like the person has committed a crime, which they haven't. So we usually say died by suicide, but over the years we said committed, and you notice I keep using it interchangeably. Forgive me for that. The right way to say is that the person died by suicide rather than they committed suicide. One quick note before I finish. I have worked in suicide prevention for many years. When I worked in the prison system for 7 years, I was a suicide prevention coordinator. Even within a dark place, a difficult place like prison, we did prevent suicides. And even in the community, I have worked as well actively to help people who are feeling suicidal. I have seen people do better. I have seen people do well. There was a patient of mine in the last year. I started working with her. She was feeling suicidal. She could barely leave her home. She was ready to give up on life. Family members alerted. Mental health professional contacted me. We started working together. Today she's working. She's doing well. She's back in the choir. She's positive. I saw that her countenance change, her mood lift. It is important to get your loved one help that they need and encourage them to get help. And let them understand that getting help is not a one-time deal, it's a lifelong deal. Anybody can get depressed, severely depressed. It is important to see life as the process of getting help as on a continuum rather than a one-act deal. Please subscribe, press that notification bell. Thank you very much for listening, and I will talk to you next time.